beginning the loss. The sky above Charon Prime burned the color of dying embers. Not from fire, but from war. Orbital debris streaked through the atmosphere like falling stars, each one a reminder of the Dominion fleet that had come too late. The invasion was over. The enemy had withdrawn. And for many, victory tasted like ash. High Matron Seralith of House Vereen stood at the edge of the evacuation platform, her tall, willowy alien frame rigid with restraint. Her ceremonial robes fluttered in the hot wind, though she no longer felt the heat. Her hands were empty. They had been empty for 17 standard cycles. She remembered the last time she had held her child. The alarms. The screaming. The sky splitting open as human vessels and Dominion warships clashed above the city. She remembered clutching her daughter close as the evacuation lines collapsed into chaos. And then separation. A crush of bodies. A violent surge. A transport door slamming shut. Her child's eyes, wide, terrified, glowing a soft violet, vanished behind armored plating and smoke. They had told her the truth later. The transport never made it out. No wreckage. No survivors. Officially listed as lost beyond recovery. Seralith had not screamed. Not then. Not ever. Among her people, grief was carried silently. To wail was to dishonor the dead. But inside her, something broke and never healed. She turned away from the platform as the last evacuation ship lifted off-world. Charon Prime would survive, but parts of her never would. Until the human arrived. Middle the impossible claim. Humans were not welcome in Dominion space. They were tolerated now, after the ceasefire, but never trusted. Too unpredictable. Too emotional. Too stubborn. So when Engineer Elias Ward, Terran Civilian Recovery Corps, requested an audience with a high matron, Seralith nearly dismissed it outright. Nearly. He claims to have information about your lost child, her aide said carefully. The chamber went silent. Seralith's crest stiffened. I have heard that lie before, she replied evenly. From scavengers. From charlatans. From grieving minds trying to ease their own pain. He insists, the aide continued, that he does not seek payment. That was unusual. Send him in, Seralith said at last. Elias Ward entered the chamber without armor, without guards, without the confident swagger she had come to associate with humans. He was unremarkable in appearance, dark hair, tired eyes, hands scarred from manual labor. But when he looked at her, there was no pity, only resolve. I won't waste your time, he said after a respectful pause. Your daughter is alive. The words hit harder than any weapon. Seralith's claws flexed involuntarily. You will not speak her name so lightly, she said, voice cold. If this is a deception. It isn't. Elias interrupted, then immediately bowed his head. Forgive me, but I know what you're thinking. I'd think the same. She studied him carefully. You claim to know the fate of a child lost in an annihilated transport, she said. Explain. Elias activated a small hollow projector. A fractured image appeared, old, grainy, clearly not intended to be seen. A human emergency shelter. Medical tents. Wounded civilians. And, in the corner of the frame, a small alien child. Curled up. Alive. Seralith's breath caught. The child's markings, violet crest, silver skin pattern, were unmistakable. My daughter, she whispered. Elias nodded. She was found drifting in an escape pod, he said. Human patrol vessel picked it up 17 cycles ago. No ID. No language match. No known origin at the time. Seralith staggered forward. You had her, she said, voice shaking. All this time. We didn't know who she was, Elias replied. Only that she was alive. And terrified. Saralitha's composure shattered. Where is she? She demanded. Where have you kept her? Elias hesitated. Safe, he said. Protected. Loved. Saralitha's eyes blazed. You presume much. No, Elias said quietly. I speak from experience. He deactivated the holo. She's on Outpost Haven 9, he continued. A joint humanitarian station. She's grown. Learned our language. Our customs. Saralith felt her world tilt. You raised her, she said. As one of your own. We did, Elias said simply. Silence stretched between them. And now, Saralith said, you come to return her? Elias met her gaze. That depends, he said. Middle the choice. They traveled together aboard a neutral vessel. Saralith watched Elias closely during the journey. He did not boast, did not seek gratitude. He spent long hours reviewing old data logs, occasionally staring out into space, as if weighing something heavy. Why did you really come? Saralith asked during one of those moments. Elias exhaled slowly. Because she asked me to. Saralith turned sharply. She remembers me, she whispered. She never forgot you, Elias said. But she's afraid. Afraid. The word pierced deeper than grief ever had. Afraid of me? Saralith asked. Afraid of losing us, Elias corrected. She loves her human family. Saralith closed her eyes. Of course she did. 17 cycles was a lifetime for a child. You fear I will take her, Saralith said. Elias nodded. She fears she'll have to choose. The station came into view, Haven 9, a lattice of white and gold rotating gently against the stars. When they arrived, Saralith felt her legs weaken. She saw her daughter across the observation deck. Taller now, stronger, wearing a human jacket far too large for her frame. Laughing. Saralitha's vision blurred. The child turned. Their eyes met. Time stopped. The girl froze, then dropped everything and ran. Mother, she cried. Saralith fell to her knees just in time to catch her. She held her child at last, warm, alive, real. I thought you were gone, Saralith whispered, voice breaking. I thought I failed you. The girl shook her head fiercely. They saved me, she said, glancing back at Elias. They never let me be alone. Saralith looked up. Elias stood at a distance, hands clasped, giving them space. You did the impossible, she said to him. He shook his head. We just refused to give up. Ending the return. The question came later. When tears were dried. When stories were exchanged. When the past finally began to loosen its grip. The girl sat between them, alien mother on one side, human guardian on the other. What happens now? She asked softly. Saralitha's heart clenched. She turned to Elias. I will not force her, she said. Whatever she chooses. Elias nodded. That's all I ever wanted. The girl looked between them. I don't want to choose, she said. Saralith stilled. You do not have to, Elias said gently. The girl smiled. I want both. Silence followed. Saralith straightened slowly. Among my people, she said, to accept another into one's family is sacred. She looked at Elias. You raised my child when I could not, she continued. You gave her a future when I had lost hope. She placed a hand over her heart. I would be honored, she said, to call you kin. Elias swallowed hard. I don't know what to say. The girl laughed and hugged them both. You already did, she said. Months later, the Dominion made history. For the first time, a human was granted bloodbound status, recognized as family to a high matron of Karun. And when Seralith stood beneath the twin suns of her homeworld, watching her daughter walk freely between two cultures, she finally understood. Sometimes the impossible wasn't winning a war. Sometimes it was choosing love over loss. End of story.